What language is Isa ibn Maryam speaking in the Quran?
What?
When I go to the Quran and it claims Jesus is speaking,
Yeah.
when he says Allah has made me a prophet, what language is he speaking?
The Prophet Muhammad.
No, what language is Jesus speaking in the Quran?
Aramaic.
Okay, so there's Aramaic in the Quran.
I'm not sure.
But the Quran states that it is a pure, it's a Quran written in Arabic. So an Aramaic speaking person can read an Arabic Quran and understand it. See, the argument that you're trying to make is that Jesus spoke Aramaic.
Yes.
And then you're going to claim that the word aloha sounds almost like Allah. More stupid, ridiculous arguments. And what I'm saying to you is the Quran has Hebrew prophets speaking Arabic. Moses did not know or speak Arabic. Neither did Jonah, neither did Elijah, neither did Zechariah. But they're all speaking Arabic when we go to the Quran. So you trying to make an argument that Jesus' primary language was Aramaic and yet the Gospels were written in Greek is stupid and futile. Because now you're going to have to account for why he's speaking Arabic when we get to the Quran. Come on, bruh. Exercise a little bit of intelligence, man. Here, let me read.
You will eventually become Muslim, I think.
Oh, okay. Let me read this to you. This is Bernard Spolsky in his book, The Languages
Keep reading the Quran and keep...
Hang on. No. I've
Bible.
read it
You'll become
numerous
Muslim.
times, and that's how I know it's false. Bernard Spolsky in his book, The Languages of the Jews, A Sociolinguistic History, Cambridge University, page 62, he says, after the destruction of the first temple by the Babylonians and the return from Babylonian exile, Hebrew Aramaic bilingualism began. So after the Jews came back from their 70-year captivity in Babylon, they spoke a bilingual language, which was Hebrew/Aramaic. It was later succeeded in the Hellenistic Roman period by a trilingual Hebrew, Aramaic, Greek pattern that laid the foundation for diaspora Jewish multilingualism. Once again, Jesus was trilingual. Here's Jewish scholar Robert H. Stein in his book, Jesus the Messiah, A Survey of the Life of Christ. Page 87, Jews of the first century lived in a trilingual environment. Thus, although Jesus' native language was Aramaic, he could also converse in Hebrew and Greek. It may even be that he was familiar with certain Latin terms due to the influence of Rome and its legions and its administrative officials. My brother, do research before you come on stage making arguments in a Quran-only Christian's room. Let me hit you with one more gem. This is the Wycliffe Dictionary of Biblical Archaeology, Chief Editor Charles F. Pfeiffer. He states that the translations of scripture into Aramaic known as Targums were oral rather than written until the early centuries of the Christian era. Hebrew continued to be used by the religious leaders and never died as the language of prayer and scripture. It was used by the Qumran community as the language of devotion and instruction as late as the 1st century AD. Once again, the language of prayer and the reading of scripture was always Hebrew. So every time you go to the Gospels and Jesus is engaging religious leaders, they're speaking Hebrew. Every time he's praying, like when he prayed in the Garden of Gethsemane, he's praying in Hebrew. You got to educate yourself, man. Stop coming with these elementary arguments that Muslims have been bantering, throwing around, man, for decades, man. It's time to get educated, man.